Sample Story 1. Write an original short story beginning with "There she stood, wondering what to do." There she stood, wondering what to do. But she knew she had to think quick. Whatever had to be done very fast. Her flight would take off in an hour. Months of tireless hard work and endless sleepless nights had finally gotten her where she was, waiting at the airport to take the flight to the global conference at Paris, which, if she could nail, would be a jump start to her literary career. Never in her wildest dreams could she have imagined that a mishap like this would come to pass, that too on the D-Day. With trembling fingers, she put the phone to her ears the moment it started ringing. "Hello," she whispered. "Have you spoken to her family, ma'am?" asked the caller from the other side. "Are they coming?" "She is in dire need of B-negative blood transfusion. We cannot wait for longer than an hour." "Her family doesn't live here. They live in Maharashtra. Don't inform her family yet. Her parents are both very old and extremely sick. One of them has just recovered from a massive cardiac arrest. Don't tell them." Aisha felt exasperated and helpless at the same time. Her forehead was streaked with sweat, even in the chilled, air-conditioned airport. Her heart seemed to pound in her throat. The boarding time was near. She could hear the announcement blaring in the speakers, but she felt so distant from all of it. "But I have B-negative blood," she ended up saying. "Can you come over, ma'am?" Swallowing the lump in her throat, she answered, "Yes, I will. I definitely will." It was a matter of life and death for her roommate. She had to go. No conference could be more important than saving a dear one's life. While she wrote to the hospital, she couldn't help but burst into tears. Through the foggy windshield of the taxi, she couldn't see the world outside. That was a relief, for it meant that others couldn't see her either. She would not like to be seen this way, distressed, dejected, defeated. How different it all was in the morning. She had woken up happier than ever. Her biggest dream was about to come true. She had told Sunaina innumerable times never to ride her bike without a helmet. She had bought her one too on her last birthday, but she could never make the obstinate girl wear it. Now the worst had happened, exactly like she had warned her it would. But what she couldn't believe was the fact that it had to happen on this very day. She couldn't help but feel a tinge of anger clouding her sympathy for her roommate. If she had only heeded her advice and worn the helmet, none of this would have happened. She would be flying to Paris now, and Sunaina would be in one piece, safe and sound. Her anger on her roommate made her feel guilty now. How could she still think of the conference when there was no certainty whether or not Sunaina would make it. How could she be so self-centered? These thoughts unleashed a fresh bout of tears, and by the time she reached the hospital, she looked no better than a train wreck herself. 24 hours later, Sunaina regained consciousness, and the very first face that she could see through the film of blur was her roommate Aisha's. She had tears in her eyes, but she was smiling back at her. Sunaina felt a sharp sting at the side of her head when she tried to speak, and the pain left her nauseous for a while. "What happened?" she asked groggily after a while. "You had an accident," replied Aisha. "Smashed your head against the sidewalk. Lost a lot of blood. But don't worry, you're fine now and well out of danger. You will be all right." "Weren't you supposed to leave for, Paris?" The nurse smiled at Aisha. Her memory is at least fine. She still remembers the last thing on her mind. "Did you miss your flight for me?" Sunaina asked painstakingly. "She saved your life," replied the nurse. "She donated her blood for your transfusion." "Is that true?" Sunaina's eyes brimmed with tears. "No. You're the one who saved my life," replied Aisha, holding her hand. "The plane that was about to take me to Paris had a crash landing. No survivors. My conference has been rescheduled, but had I taken that plane, I would have... You saved my life. You saved my life too." Video.